with your KLEK 102.5 forecast. Becoming partly to mostly cloudy today, and the high temperature in the low 70s. Lots of clouds overnight, about 50 to 55. Light winds through tonight. More clouds, maybe a shower late in the day Tuesday, the high about 65. A better chance of showers Tuesday night and Wednesday. Maybe a thunderstorm on Wednesday, and the high Wednesday around 60 degrees. Jonesboro, that's your KLEK 102.5 FM weather.
From Feature Story News, I'm Natalie Powell with your latest world news. Argentina's centre-left opposition candidate Alberto Fernandez has been elected as the country's president, beating incumbent Mauricio Macri. A state of emergency has been declared in California as thousands of people have been forced from their homes by wildfires. And Germany's far-right Alternative for Germany party has received a major boost in a regional election.
It's 9:01.
Community Conversations is brought to you by Arkansas Early Learning, offering no-cost childcare in Jonesboro and Northeast Arkansas. Applications at arearlylearning.org.
Arkansas Early Learning is a nonprofit organization.
KLEK LP Jonesboro, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council. It's now time for Community Conversations, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place, while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of KLEK 102.5 FM, the voice of Arkansas Minority Advocacy Council, or our underwriters or sponsors.
Good morning, everyone, and happy Monday to you. I hope that you're having a great start to your day. You're tuned in to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. I'm your host, Kabila Jones, and my special guest today is Mr. Javon Long.
Good morning. Good morning.
From Arkansas State University, from the Office of Diversity and Community Engagement. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing good, and yourself?
I am wonderful. So I can't wait to get into this discussion. Today we're going to be talking about the upcoming, is it Arkansas? Oh God, I just lost my thought.
It's okay.
Please tell me.
We call it ARSAM, so Summon for African American Males. So that's kind of what it is. But anyway, the kind of theme of this conference is the power of knowledge. So that's kind of the highlight of the conference itself. But we call the organization itself is called ARSAM, which is just Arkansas Summon for African American Males. So.
All right, so we hope to see the venue packed out with men that are coming for knowledge and networking and fellowshipping.
Yeah, hopefully. So we usually budgeted for about 200 people.
Okay.
We got about 100 coming from here, from Northeast Arkansas, so that's combining A-State and a couple of our surrounding schools.
Okay.
And also we're going to have over about 40 students, high school seniors from JHS come over. Me and Miss Sharon Lee, who's been helping us out on this, kind of thought about, high school seniors not having some of the resources available to get some of this knowledge possibly that can help them get to college.
Okay.
Where college students sometimes might have a leg up already. So we decided to try to open up to some of our high school seniors. And then we'll have another 50 to 75 coming from Central Arkansas. So from Philander Smith, Harding, I believe Henderson State will be here, Arkansas Baptist, Shorter. So just have a whole little mix of people coming to Northeast Arkansas.
So is registration already closed for those who want to attend?
Registration is, I believe, it closed actually on Friday.
Okay.
But nevertheless, as far as I know, we're not necessarily at capacity right now.
Okay.
I know we're getting close. So you can definitely send. There's an email on the website, which is ardiversity.org. And under the conference session, it actually has the AR conference session listed. And that should be able to tell you if registration's closed or not, and give you contact information to be able to contact the organization. We just happen to be hosting the event, but not necessarily germane to over it, though.
Okay. All right. I'm putting the information, for those of you that may be watching our Facebook Live feed, I'm putting the information in the feed. And if those of you who are listening on the air want to go back to our Facebook page, you can find information listed there as well. All right, so we would love to see as many people attend. Good morning to Mr. Kobe Parker, happy birthday, and to Mr. Adrian Everett over in the Transfer Student Department. Hope everyone is having a great day. All right, so let's go ahead and get into how did Arkansas State come to be the host for the event this year?
So Arkansas State, we always supported the event for the past 3 years. 2 years ago, from my recollection, it's always kind of been a UAPB in Pine Bluff. And last year, I was blessed to be able to go when they hosted at Philander Smith.
Okay.
So I'm guessing just, being a sponsor and Dr. Gibson just having a few negotiations to where we were able to host it this year. So we wanted to make sure that, we show up and show out. There's a lot of conferences like this that are kind of seem to stay in the central part of the state. So we definitely want to bring some up to Northeast Arkansas, especially with our flagship institution here. So
okay, that's right. And then we have a wonderful facility. You all, I want to say you all, I don't work there. You all have wonderful facilities to host this event, and everyone should come and see Jonesboro. There's a lot to do here.
go ahead.
No, go.
I was going to say just, the population that we're geared towards, in terms of for this conference. Not necessarily having the same accessibility to conferences like this as you would in Central Arkansas. When you're at a Philander or UAPB, you have a host of schools within an hour radius of Little Rock where it's easy to go attend conferences like this. And of course, I'm in Jonesboro, we're a little bit out the way, but nevertheless, still have a community that has a need for something like this. So that's definitely one of my main reasons why we love and accept the challenge of hosting here.
Alrighty then. I want to get into some information about this event. And again, you can go to ardiversity.org. Click on the ARSAAM link to look up more information. And on the page it says education, leadership, mentorship, entrepreneurship, and health and wellness. Do you feel that those topics are not discussed enough amongst Black men? I mean, sometimes you hear it in passing in conversation, but do you feel that these specific topics are not talked about in depth enough so that Black men feel that they are confident to go forth in their life and flourish in those areas? No,
not really. I will say it's a major difference over time, but nevertheless, I don't think so. Especially so using the first one, education. I used to have this joke with a lot of students that I have when I mentor boys that I always ask them, how many people in your class just know they're about to be the next Lil Wayne? And everybody raises their hand. I'm like, how many of you know he's not going to be the next Lil Wayne? And everybody raises their hand. And, just doing that, who's going to be the next one go to NBA, NFL? So, we're within this community, entertainment has a big draw on what we want to do. And it's good to dream, but it's also good to dream about your education. That's the one thing that will never leave you. So, we've gotten better over time, I believe, about preaching education. Education, not just about going to college, but educating yourself regardless of what you're going to do with it, whether it is college, a trade school, going to barber school. There's many different avenues and many different ways to educate yourself other than a university degree. Now, working for ASA, I would love to recruit you to come here, but nevertheless, I want you to be able to find your niche and what's going to work for you in your life. And college might not be there for you. I have a lot of my students that's like college is for me. Well, I'm like, I guarantee you something out there is. So
that's right.
And leadership is something that we also don't discuss a lot about until you usually get to an educated place. About what it means being a leader. How do we define leadership? Leadership is just such a broad topic. So that one, but in particular, which is health and wellness. As a medical professional part-time being an EMT, there's a lot of things and a lot of medical issues in the African-American community that we don't talk about. And not only that, we don't think about. So, such as high blood pressure, strokes, heart attacks for males, prostate cancer. So there's a lot of different health issues that we don't discuss and kind of kick the can down the road until it's actually maybe a little bit too late or it hits us all at once. So that's another topic. Mentorship. I love it. It's one of my favorite things to do. One of my favorite quotes is mentorship is the greatest act of leadership. It's something I've always done as an advisor to organizations at A-State, as a counselor at Boys State, and working with Mr. Rennell Woods for Whole Youth Services. Like, I've always loved talking and mentoring you because you never know how important a mentor can be in your life. And I took it for granted. Growing up, I always had somebody in my life to somewhat encourage me.
Okay.
And I grew up in a 2-parent household for half of my life before my parents separated. But, you know, mentoring some students that, you know, come from a single parent home, don't have anybody to really support them. I didn't realize how important I was by just showing up. And so mentorship is definitely something I don't think we're talking about, but it's something that I always stress, because all of those 5 things that you listed can stem from just having a mentor to help you get equated to your education, teach you about leadership and kind of about your health and wellness, and also entrepreneurship. So,
do you feel, I don't know, we're going to get more into the event, but do you feel that having someone in your life at an early enough age can help steer you on a positive path?
yes.
And you can achieve, you know, all of these things, and you can then in turn have a vessel to pour back into, a vessel filled up enough to pour back into others.
Yes, most definitely. You know, just like anything, you want to start young, because you start young. Starting young, younger people are usually more receptive once you get to their level. But also, you know, the older we get, the more ingrained in our path we are. That's just like a lot of time we go to a job and I'm like, well, maybe we should do it this way. Then they, you know, they always say, well, this is how we always done it. And they don't want to change. You know, people can get comfortable as time goes on. So definitely if you hit them at a young enough age, you know, especially mentorship wise, you can go ahead and set their staff and get them on the right track before they try to veer off. And part of human nature is veering off, you know, regardless how many good people you have in your life. You know, I think just us as a person, it's good to be rebellious sometimes. That's kind of that's our nature somewhat. You know, every time somebody tells you don't do something, you want to know why, so you go do it anyway. And you know, it's okay. It's okay to make mistakes like that, because you know, I was just having this conversation with somebody yesterday. Like a lot of people that has more experience, we always say don't try to make the same mistakes I made. And I'm like, it's okay though. Like, you know, as long as they're not a major mistake. But some mistakes are okay to make, because the same way you learn, sometimes people have to learn from first-hand experience and not just being told to. And I've learned that throughout, you know, my time in mentorship. You know, like there's a lot of times I would tell a student, don't do this, and they go do it. And I'm like, and I tell you, and it's like, yes. And I'm cool with it, you know, because I understand that's just part of the process. And I always have to reflect to me. My mama told me not to do something. All of us have a burn mark on us somewhere from my mama telling us not to touch this. What did we proceed to do? Touch it, and then we learn. So I just think some mistakes are normal part of life, but as long as you have somebody there that helps mentor you about staying on track and just keep you inside those reins, I think you'll be okay. Because I've learned that over time. I've had good students, hyperbole wise. I had more trouble students where I had to have a little bit more one-on-one time, and I also have to have a realization that, you know, sometimes I work with students that don't want to be helped. So, you know, there comes a point in time where you have to let a person live their own life. So, you know, mentoring is hard work. I've said that before. It looks fun. It is fun when you see the results. You know, the first time I ever went to a graduation, and like I was mentioned in that valedictorian speech, or I popped up at one of my other students' graduation. She didn't know I was coming. She started crying. Like little things like that feel so great, and you forget about all the hard work you did to get to that moment. You know, so like I always tell people, the minute those things happen to you, it's like I want to keep doing this type of work. And no matter what I do in my life, I can always mentor somebody. So everybody that's listening, I please advise you to do the same.
Yes, and look, you can be any age and still need a mentor.
Yes.
Present party counted here. Not going to tell my age right now, but yes, you can be any age and still need a mentor, because there are always people that have done things that you haven't. No matter what their age is, we all have different experiences, and we can all pour into each other and pull from each other, and elevate each other at the same time. All right. So will that and other topics be some that are addressed at this conference?
Oh yes, most definitely. Let me get my little sheet out here. So the theme of the conference is called Power of Knowledge.
Okay.
And they're focused on 4 different aspects. So knowledge of self, knowledge of the past, knowledge of purpose, and the knowledge of the unknown.
Okay.
So kind of the knowledge of self, or like who are you, your family background, kind of defining yourself. Knowing yourself is important in helping others, and knowing yourself is important in bettering yourself.
Okay.
Knowledge of the past, so a historical compass. A lot of people, me not being a historian, but I still think it's important to know your history. Not only is it bound to repeat itself, but it's great to know. So let me look at my little cheat sheet here. Would you say most about you personally, radical? So it's just a lot of different topics of knowledge of the past, not only societal-wise, but how you think of those and how that reflects within yourself. A knowledge of purpose. What is your purpose on this earth? You know, that's a question that, you know, I'm not sure if everybody's able to answer. I think I got a purpose, and I know I have a purpose, and I think I figured it out. My purpose is to help people in so many different ways. Me being a volunteer firefighter, or being an EMT, or being a mentor. You know, I feel like my purpose, regardless of what my actual career field is to help people. So I felt like I found my purpose in life, and I've done it at an early enough age where I feel like now that I know it, everything I do now for the rest of my life is going to be defined by it. So I'm going to try to, and like I said, I'm going to always try to help somebody, no matter what I do.
Okay.
The knowledge of the unknown. So, you know, how do you discipline yourself not to judge others but seek understanding? How do you remain curious and committed to a lifetime of learning? And just a lot of unknowns that we have here within the Black community, such as, you know, diversity, for example. So homophobia and a lot of different topics that are uncomfortable and unknown within our community, but also broaden in a deeper sense of, but all about the power of knowledge of yourself. And they had a nice little blob on here that I wanted to read for them.
Okay.
And it says, the accumulation of power and knowledge is an essential step towards changing one's life and community. Knowledge without power, or power without knowledge, leads to an underdeveloped life and can have serious consequences for society at large. This talk will address the 4 steps of attaining knowledge and using power to change oneself, community, and the world. And I already had mentioned the 4 steps, but I'll mention again, which is gaining knowledge of self, understanding knowledge of the past, knowledge of your purpose, and knowledge of the unknown. So, you know, the power of knowledge is the essential theme of what they're going to be doing here at the conference.
I really like that. And as you're reading, I was thinking about, we have heard over the course of history, ancient times and present times, people that are in positions of quote-unquote power or perceived power, they some lead without knowledge. They don't even know who they are. They don't know who their audience is. And they just lead because people are afraid of them and don't know how to challenge them and set them down. And then there are those leaders that we can have considered great over the years, centuries, whatever, that were very wise in their dealings, and they knew how to lead the people and lead whatever they're doing, business, whatever they were doing. They knew how to lead with knowledge and compassion, and there's a major difference in that. So I hope that everyone attends really comes with an open mind, open heart, and a willing mind and spirit to listen and absorb whatever information is given that day.
Most definitely, openness and willingness. I think those are the 2 major keys that not only at the conference, but I just think people overall need to kind of embrace those 2 ideas of kind of being open, and not open enough to hear it so it can go out your ear and out the other, but open enough to understand it and a willingness to try to understand. Just like anytime I debate with someone, you know, they hear, I understand what you're saying, but no, you didn't. You waited just so you can say your point. You missed that hole before that. You were just waiting on the opportunity. So I tell people, you know, when you truly understand, try your best and are open to understanding another person's ways. And you might not necessarily have to agree with it, but understand it enough to know, 1, I'm not going to judge that person, and 2, you know, not only will I not judge that person, but I will not bring somebody else down for what they choose to believe in. And even within leadership, like you said, you know, I always say, I consider myself a servant leader. If you start like listening to definitions, making sure you take care of your people, you know, serve your people. And that's half of the job. You know, a lot of it's not necessarily about being the smartest person in the room or having an intellect or can yell and be loud in front of a group of people. A lot of it is just about taking care of people. That's half of your battle, in my terms of being a good leader. And, you know, if you can set somebody up to take your shoes one day, I think that's most of being a leader is all about. We consider it paying it forward, because I understand that, you know, and I heard this a lot when I had just graduated and finished up my master's. A lot of people thought I was leaving immediately after. I did too. But I know a lot of people say, well, who's going to replace you? Somebody, you know. Will they be me? No, but somebody will. Somebody will replace me to keep this thing going, just like I'm sure I replaced somebody. Like, one person that I don't consider myself replacing, but had a big effect on me was Chris Davis when he was at ASU. Now he's now he in New York and working at Def Jam and over here living his best life. But, you know, I'm not a Chris Davis, but I was able to career-wise do some of the same things he did at this community. And we both made our own impact, just like I hope somebody was able, and I know somebody will be able to do these type of things when I leave.
Well, as we're getting ready to go into our break here, we got about a minute and a half. Let's just leave on that. You know, you talked about the impact that Chris made on you, and I was blessed to meet him before he left. He's such a wonderful individual and passionate about what he does, and he brought excellence to the position that he was in at all times. And everyone that I've met and that has been in your office or other offices, they bring excellence to their position. So, you know, you said that, you know, at some point you are going to leave and transition to another job, city, whatever the case, and someone will have to fill your shoes. Do you feel that you are leaving or laying a good and a solid enough foundation that whoever does step in, they know they cannot come in half-stepping?
Yeah. It's something that I think I'm developing.
Okay.
You know, helping teach somebody, like, all right, this is kind of what you're going to have to do, you know, but now it's getting to where Dr. gets to tell me, okay, now I'm starting to write down, like, programming and things like that. So he's, like, kind of help leave a book about people to learn. So, you know, it's all about never in the process of just trying to make people do it.
All right, I'm going to put a pin right there. When we come back, we will talk about some of the breakout sessions at this conference. Again, we're speaking with Mr. Javon Moss.
Yes, ma'am.
From Arkansas State University, Office of Diversity and Community Engagement. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these announcements.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
Wouldn't it be great to have a conflict-free marriage? I'm Mark Merrill with today's Family Minute. A conflict-free marriage is not reality, but you can learn to resolve conflict well. So here are 3 ways to put conflict to rest in your marriage. The R in REST stands for review. Review the problem. Pinpoint the exact issue of the conflict and get on the same page. The E stands for evaluate. Evaluate options. Have a brainstorm session with your spouse discussing different ideas, solutions, and compromises. S is for solve. Solve the problem. Together with your spouse, choose a solution and put it into action. The T stands for track. Track your progress. Set a time to follow up on how your solution is working. Remember, your family first.
For more resources on today's topic, go to markmerrill.com.
Family Minute is made possible by the Kappa Nu Omega chapter of Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, a non-profit organization committed to service to all mankind. Kappa Nu Omega Alpha Kappa Alpha on Facebook and KNOMEGA1908.com.
Family Minute is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a non-profit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
You don't usually get a stock tip from a 16-year-old, but I'm here to tell you about a different kind of stock. It's called Better Futures, a stock for social change that's not about making money. Instead, you invest to help students like me go to college, which ends up making the future better for all of us. My name is Alicia, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
The Office of Diversity and Community Engagement at Arkansas State University, under the leadership of Dr. Maurice Gibson, is a proud supporter of KLEK and is dedicated to finding innovative ways to advance their mission of creating a diverse and inclusive environment, conducive to educating, enhancing, and enriching lives, uplifting various and diverse groups on the A-State campus, and striving to maintain Arkansas State University a place that is inclusive to all individuals, regardless of origin, color, religion, socioeconomic status, or sexual orientation. More information about the Arkansas State University Office of Diversity and Community Engagement is available at www.astate.edu/diversity and 870-972-3081.
The Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated was established on June 28, 1997 by 13 dynamic women who accepted the challenge of chartering the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter. Today, the chapter continues to impact the Jonesboro community by sponsoring programs such as the Sonia D. Williams Scholarship Breakfast, Community Back to School Bash, Delta Academy, Voter Registration Drive, and Autism Awareness. Our focus correlates with the national theme, Joy in Our Sisterhood, Power in Our Voice, and Service in Our Hearts. Our chapter supports Delta's 5-point programmatic thrust: economic development, educational development, international awareness and involvement, physical and mental health, and political awareness and involvement. More information about the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated is available at www.jonesboroalumnidst.org or via email jonesboroalumni@live.com.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
Welcome back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM with my special guest, Javon Long. I'm so sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
From Arkansas State University, Office of Diversity and Community Engagement. We're talking about the 4th annual RSAM, which is the Arkansas Summit of African American Males, and the conference will be held on the campus of Arkansas State University on November 1st of this year. And can you give us a time frame? We can talk about the time.
We did. Yes, so it's this Friday, which is November the 1st, and we'll be starting up at 9 a.m. and we'll be probably wrapped up no later than about 3 p.m. So it's just kind of a one full day conference.
Okay.
We try to wrap up a little early for those that drop in, but still try to make it home before dark. So.
Okay. So let's talk about some of the breakout sessions. What can the attendees expect?
Yes. So we get a little schedule. So from pretty much 8 to 9, we have a check-in and the continental breakfast, but we'll start up at 9 o'clock. We have a little welcome and so forth. And our first opening preliminary, it's going to be headed by Dr. Joseph Johnson, and he's going to kind to expand on this idea of the thing, which is the power of knowledge.
Okay.
So kind of opening it up, opening it up, unpacking it a little bit, and kind of trying to create the framework of the thing that we'll be using for today before we throw out our breakout sessions. After that, we have a little break, and then we break out into our breakout sessions, which are called Student Power Knowledge Labs, and those will be hit. And there'll be four different sessions, but they all cover the same material.
Okay.
We just broke them up that way. It's a little bit more intimate, and instead of having a big room full of 200 people, try to break it up to 4 little different groups to be able to have a little bit more interaction and more intimacy with it. Then we wrap up with a administrative session, which kind of goes on at the same time. So those are the administrators that came with students. They would have a little session as well, geared towards them. I didn't work a lot on that one, so I don't know exactly what's going on that one. I deal more with the student side. But usually, to be honest with you, I sat in on the one last year, and it's just more of an education round topic. So they talk about a lot of issues that are germane to administrators in higher education.
Okay.
So that's kind of their main subject topic that they'll be kind of going into.
Being that there will be some high school students and other college students there, do you feel that it's important to have a discussion of how administrators, especially black males in those positions, can reach their student, how they can interact with their students, better engage with their students, I should say, to help encourage, inspire, instill in them, what they need to be successful students if they choose to go to college or whatever other career they step into?
And most definitely. I mean, the fact that you're there first shows a good step of, the willingness to learn. Even if it's just because you have to drive the bus up there or whatever the case may be, being there first helps with that first step. Being a black administrator, in its present time is also a good thing because you probably already have an understanding of, kind of being engaged and, kind of being there. Something that's different, like I have to explain to some of my fellow coworkers, like, sometimes part of my day may be just having my office open and hearing 30 or 40 students come by. And sometimes I may come by just to say hello, but there's something about me that makes them feel comfortable enough to do that where they might not feel that somewhere else, being a black male, it's always great to see another face. And, we have a lot of students that will come by our office at the Multicultural Center and kind of hang out and talk with us or something like that. And it might prevent me from getting my work done temporarily. But here at A-State, where every will counts. But not only that, as a black man, I have to service all that come to me. So sometimes that means putting my report down and talking to a student that might just need somebody to talk to them that day. They might need a vent that day. I might not be a counselor per se, but, as student affairs professionals, that student comes first. So I definitely think, those that are already in the field understand that. And sometimes you may get a little detached from it when you kind of join the administrative side. And I can't say that for sure because I'm not an administrator. I hadn't been in here long enough to say they are, but I'm just throwing dots out there and shots. Because, not that you get too big on your high horse, but, being an administrator encompasses a different type of responsibility where you're kind of removed from a lot of the student engagement side, unfortunately. But I don't think they ever lost their touch. So that's definitely correct on that one. We have our luncheon up, and we actually will be honoring Dr. Lonnie Williams, who's the special assistant to the chancellor. So he will be getting presented with our Legacy Award for the organization. If you're in Jonesboro, that name is not foreign to you. Really, if you're anywhere in Arkansas, whether it's Jonesboro, Fayetteville, all corners of the state, that's not a name that's foreign to anybody. So he'd be honored at the luncheon. And then we will have another break, and then we will have our closing preliminary session, which has different presenters on the entertainment side. So we have a jazz musician, we have an actor, and more the entertainment side of the power of knowledge again. So spun on the academic side and more the professional side during the conference, but ending on a different type of note. And throughout the day, we have a health screening going on with the Minority Health Commission. They'll be up, so they'll be doing HIV testing, high blood pressure checks, cholesterol, diabetes. So just doing a little health fair while you're there too, since we're preaching health and wellness.
And do you feel that, men seem to be one, especially black men seem to be the ones that go to the doctor the least until it's do or die. And do you feel that having the health screenings in this space where it is all black men will help you relieve the tension and make it a more comfortable space and make men less reluctant to say, okay, let me at least get this screening to see what's going on, and then I could, get a follow-up later.
Yeah, most definitely. For one, it's free. Everybody loves free things. And two, you're already in a lot of it's geared towards convenience. As people, we're convenient people. So if I'm already at this conference and they're already offering up a health screening that I don't have to take off and go to the doctor for, or things like that, I can go ahead and do it. And like you said, kind of been all around black men and other conference participants that are doing it. I'm like, why not? Why can't I do it? So I definitely think that's important, especially with the two things that hurt African Americans are high blood pressure. And especially, like I said, men that starts to get over the age of about 40 is prostate cancer. Now, even though we're not doing prostate cancer testing there, Diabetes is definitely one because, like you said, a lot of black males, we don't go to the doctor until it's too late. I've been guilty of that, and I work in the medical field sometimes. I mean, not sometimes, but I work in the medical field, so sometimes I may be guilty of, I'll be all right, I'll sleep it off. But sometimes that might not actually be the case, because I'm pretty sure we all can think personally and interpersonally about situations where we knew somebody probably should have went to the doctor, and it became regrettable later. So you just want to try your best to prevent that, because I tell a lot of individuals, like, pretty much any and everything that we have in the world today is treatable. It might not be curable, but everything we pretty much got can be treated in some sort of way. So that's why I think it's very important. And I love the health screening, the fact that the health screening, and also the fact that we're doing HIV testing too, which is also something else that, it's a sensitive topic, but nevertheless it's something that's important, and at the end of the day it's something that's here and it's real. That is something that you need to know.
And surprisingly, look at some statistics, and I've had a discussion with the director of the American Red Cross, and the population of people that are getting HIV are either older females over the age of, say, 50, but it's due to them, and this is not all cases, so please nobody check me, but for a portion of them, they're dating younger men who are living different lifestyles, and that are not being upfront and transparent with their lifestyles. And so that's where that's what's contributing to that statistic, is older women dating younger men and younger men doing whatever they're doing. And so anyway, so we need to all be mindful. I'm not trying to tell anybody to change your lifestyle. Well, be more safe in your practices.
There you go.
Be more mindful of your partners and things of that nature, and get tested often. Do not take anything for granted.
Yes, most definitely. Just like anything health related, whether it be HIV or any other STIs that might be happening. A lot of times you might not show symptoms way far in advance, and not only is that hurting you, but you could be passing it on to somewhere else. So definitely, whether it's every 6 months or, just always tell people, if you're sexually active, get yourself tested regularly.
These are conversations that need to be had.
Yes,
and so
most definitely.
If men, while you're sitting around watching sport, I know that's probably not the best time, but, there are just some conversations that need to be had. And there are some conversations men need to have with men. Women, sometimes we need to take a step back. We think we know it all. That's what we do sometimes. But anyway.
Let's not go that far.
However, we need to allow men to have the space to have their conversations and take the initiative on their own without us always intervening. But women, if you have a man in your life, don't let the reins go just yet. But still give him the space he needs to do what he needs to do.
I like that. Because just like anything, being pressured to do something can have adverse effects sometimes. But it's definitely a conversation that, like I said, it's uncomfortable. And even as I was saying it now, I'm comfortable with the subject, but it's like I'm broadcasting it to a radio. Should I say it? But it was something that needed to be said. So, at the end of the day, it don't matter. It's something that needed to be said and something that needs to happen. So,
and that's what we're here for.
Yes.
If we can't have a conversation here, where can we? And we have a responsibility, those that have the knowledge. We have a responsibility to share what we know with other people, no matter what the topic is. And so, again, hope everyone out there listening is taking heed to what's being shared. And if there are any other black males that want to attend this conference, reach out. There is the link on the Facebook Live feed, and I'll make sure to post it again on our just on our page. Post the link on our page so you can learn more about this conference, and hopefully there's some space for you to attend. And it's coming up again November 1st, which is this Friday.
Yes, ma'am.
This Friday at Arkansas State University. I want to go back and talk about, because I don't want to feel like we just grazed over. You said you'll be ending with discussions with people in the music or entertainment industry. I think it's important for individuals that are at a certain position, to share their knowledge again with others, because now we're living in this society where the younger generation think everything is instant. Instant, you get fame instantly. You make a viral video, bam. There's so much more behind the scenes that go into being a great artist, a great actor, great whatever. there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears that go into this, and then there's the legal side, the business side, the whatever, so do you have any idea of what they may discuss, or what are some things that will come up?
If I remember, it's more of we call it the power of knowledge in an entertainer's perspective. So that's kind of how it's ended, a perspective, hopefully more so a perspective on what we talk about throughout the day, but from the perspective of entertainment, like I said, the conference itself is geared towards, academically and more kind of personally and professionally, kind of entertain. But now we're talking more about the entertainment side, which we recognize was important because, like I said earlier, a majority of not just black males, period, but a majority of individuals think about going to the NFL and want to be the next rapper. We look at fame and we want to achieve that. So it's good to hear from some people that have achieved that and how they can apply what we just said, even within this type of field. So I wasn't the main contact person for that part of the conference. So I don't know a lot about what would specifically be talked about. But like I have Mr. Rodney Block, who's a jazz musician. He's out at the U of A Monticello, from Dumas, Arkansas. Mr. Big Piv, who is a community builder. He's an MC from Pine Bluff, Stanford University graduate. Mr. Frederick Webb, who I do know that he's a man of Alpha Phi Alpha. From Grambling State University, and I'm here in ASU and lives in Texarkana. So, and Mr. Webb, an actor and singer. So we just have people in different parts of the entertainment industry that have become successful in what they do. So trying to help share their knowledge and hopefully pass it on to people who would be interested in it as well.
And I hope they touch on, I'm sure they will, how to be a leader in that field as well, how to use your fame, your platform, or their platform rather, to inspire, uplift, and encourage others, how to be a stand-up person, how to be a person of integrity. What's the purpose of having a national, global platform and you don't use it for the good of the people? You only use it for yourself. You're not doing anyone any service.
You can get it sometimes. Sometimes with that platform comes wanting to keep it and, thinking about what can I risk. But nevertheless, I always tell people, access your privilege and understand. And when you understand your privilege, you can use that to help pass on to somebody else. Even as individuals that are minorities, we have privileges that the majority don't. Even within this room, I have a privilege that you don't have, and that privilege is me being a male compared to you being a female. So that right there asserts a privilege, from societal norms. So just kind of recognizing some of the privileges we have and using our privilege to help those that don't have it still be able to achieve in the world. The kind of the mission of diversity or kind of inclusion as a whole, not necessarily being equal to where everybody gets the same thing, but everybody gets the same thing that's meaningful to them. So like, yes, I can be equal and give everybody shoes, but let's equity this so I can give everybody shoes that fit them. So that's kind of how we want to do that within our world, and that kind of starts with knowing yourself, knowing your privilege, assessing that, and being able to use that to help those who don't. So whether it's entertainment, education, pretty much any field, just being there to help one another. Referencing back to mentorship and leadership, just being comfortable with paving in the way. Because like I said, if I was to die today, somebody needs to be able to do what we need to do tomorrow.
That's right.
And somebody will. Because I'm that confident in our community. So.
All right. Awesome. All right, so what are you hoping to get out of the conference personally?
I guess I can say professionally first.
Okay,
you said
professionally.
Everybody gets here safe and everybody enjoys it. So, make sure we have a good turnout.
Okay.
That's the number one thing you always worry about when you're planning something. Hopefully I didn't pay for all this for nothing. But having a good turnout, hopefully people will take some of the things that are presented to them back to their communities and not just a conference just to get out of a day of work, a day of school. Personally, working the conference, I don't know how much I will be able to sit in, but I will make sure I do. But personally, just like anything, a knowledge of something. I'm one of those people that always love learning something. And so, the four things of knowledge, I don't profess myself to know myself fully or know the past fully or know the unknown. So just all those levels of knowledge that they're going over, I want to make sure that I'm able to sit in and help enhance my knowledge within those things too. I want to go through the conference and be a normal participant and learn something too that'll help me out personally. I think sometimes we, especially in our position, sometimes when we're planning events or things like that, we think we have it figured out when I know I don't. I happen to be blessed to do some good things in my life, but I know I don't have it all figured out. So definitely just trying to gain that knowledge to be able to understand myself and know how to, and once I understand myself, see how I can do that to better myself and better those around me. Because at the end of the day, like I said, I always want to be in a position to help someone. Like I said, I believe that's my purpose in life. So, and I do it in many different avenues, but I know at the end of the day, helping people is what I want to do. So if I can use that knowledge to do that, I'll be fine.
Well, I hope that you do get to meet some bright students, students who are seeking to gain knowledge, especially high school students. Hopefully they seek you out. They spot you and say, okay, I want to get to know Mr. Maul.
Yeah, well, we'll see when we get there. Hopefully, it's a double-edged sword. So sometimes, you have to make that connection, but sometimes it does. I got comfortable. I know I can't help everybody, but helping one always helps more than none. So,
that's right.
But I've been blessed to be able to interact, and I don't want to say help because a lot of what I do, I don't think of myself as helping. I understand being there for people to vent, things like that are very important. Like I tell a lot of my students, they always say I've done so much for them. I'm like, you did a lot of that yourself. You just need somebody to help you along the way. And I didn't do nothing but pat you in the back or give you a stern talking to. It just helped you out along the way. But a lot of work you did on your own. So, and it's just good to see students I have students at Harvard, at the Naval Academy. I have students out there doing big things. So it's always good to look at them and see how good they're doing. And knowing they're going to be okay. And I'm not that much older than them, but just knowing, in the future we're going to be all right. We always have been, and we always will. So.
Does it make you feel like a proud papa or something?
Every once in a while you have some, every once in a while you definitely do, because it's just like, wow, especially those that you see from the youngers. You just kind of see them grow over time. So it's definitely a rewarding experience.
All right. We're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, we'll wrap up our discussion. We'll give you more of the date, time, and location. And if you would like to register, you can go to the website. And so we'll make sure to give you that information and also post it on the KLEK Facebook page. But don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these announcements.
You're listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM. We'll be right back.
We're back with Money Matters. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. To protect emergency cash as well as other documents related to your money matters, you need a home safe. Once you purchase the right safe for your needs and budget, here's what to keep in it. Property insurance policies and agent contact information, passports and original birth certificates, a list of family doctors, prescription medications, and contact information for all pharmacies you use. You may need these to get new supplies of medications you use on a regular basis. Safe deposit box keys. If you store any valuables in a bank safe deposit box, you want to make sure you keep the keys to it in a safe place. I'm Alfred Edmond Jr. for Money Matters, a product of American Urban Radio Networks.
Money Matters is made possible by the Jonesboro Alumni Chapter of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, a nonprofit organization focused on joy in our sisterhood, power in our voice, and service in our hearts. www.jonesboroalumnidst.org.
Money Matters is brought to you by Bancorp South, offering checking, savings, loans, credit cards, and wealth management. 5 locations in Jonesboro to serve you. www.bancorpsouth.com or 870-972-9800.
Money Matters is brought to you by the Gears Foundation, a nonprofit organization providing students with assistance in their academic and career pursuits. Gears Foundation on Facebook, Gears_Inc. on Instagram, and the Gears Foundation at gmail.com.
KLEK thanks CJ Pepper and the staff of Life Strategies Counseling Incorporated for helping people through hard times in life such as depression, family issues, stress, abuse, and more. They offer counseling and therapy for all ages, individuals, families, and groups. They are located at 1217 Stone Street. Phone number 1-866-972-1268 or online at lscihelp.com.
House of Details, located at 3915 East Highland in Jonesboro, is a proud supporter of KLEK, offering detailing on any type of vehicle: basic wash, hand wash, shampoo, interior cleaning, waxing, buffering, headlight restoration, pickup, delivery, and more, with the motto of anything mean we can clean. Details at 870-273-5187. House of Details on Facebook and at klekfm.org.
The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated was established on January 1st, 1977, originally serving Blytheville, Arkansas, and now serving Jonesboro, Blytheville, Osceola, Marion, and West Memphis, Arkansas. Today, the chapter continues to make an impact by focusing on Alpha's national community outreach initiatives such as My Brother's Keeper, A Voteless People is a Hopeless People, Go to High School, Go to College, Project Alpha, Boy Scouts, and the March of Dimes. The Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is committed to Alpha's mission of developing leaders, promoting brotherhood and academic excellence, while providing service and advocacy to the community. More information about the Mu Omicron Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated is available at MOL Alphas on Facebook or via email at molalphas@gmail.com.
KLEK 102.5 FM salutes small businesses. Small businesses promote local character and success, keeping money in the local economy, local jobs, entrepreneurship, community well-being, and so much more. Contact us today to learn more on how your small business could be featured on KLEK for as little as $25 per month.
My suit can still make an impression.
And my lamp can bring others a bright future.
Because when I donate my stuff to Goodwill, it helps fund job placement and training for people right in my community.
Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. Brought to you by Goodwill and the Ad Council.
It's me, your heart. High blood pressure is serious, and I can quit whenever I want. Just treat me better. After all, we're in this together.
For help getting your high blood pressure to a healthy range, text PRESSURE to 97779. A message from the American Heart Association and the Ad Council.
And now back to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM.
All right, welcome back to the last segment of Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM with my special guest, Javon Long. And we have been discussing the upcoming summit. Lord, I always lose my train of thought. The Arkansas Summit on African American Males. This conference will be held on November 1st, 2019 on the campus of Arkansas State University. We didn't tell the location, like the actual...
Oh, Centennial Hall, so on the third floor.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
So that's kind of the go-to place for everything on campus.
Yeah, so we're taking up the whole floor. Pretty much everything will be done in Centennial Hall. But with those breakout sessions, we have different rooms on the first floor, but check-in and everything will be on the third floor. So pretty much the main event location for the issue.
All right. Again, all the spaces may not have been filled, so if you are a student, $32, and if you are an administrator, it's $63. So please go to the website ardiversity.org. Click on the ARSAAM as in male, and scroll down to the conference registration information, and there's also a phone number and an email address to request more information. Again, this is the 4th annual conference, and tell us about the theme again.
The theme is the power of knowledge, so referencing 4 areas of knowledge, which is the knowledge of self, knowledge of the past, knowledge of purpose, and the knowledge of unknown. So just trying to equate these 4 ideas of knowledge into more powerful aspects you can use within your life. And I'll read our little blurb. I'm sorry.
No problem. Go ahead.
And basically just says, we recognize the key role that young men play in strengthening our communities and our economy. This year's summit focuses on bringing the professional community together to address critical issues affecting African American males and find effective and sustainable solutions. Our mission is to collectively help our young men understand how to pursue and use the knowledge that they have to reach their fullest potential. Finally, AR-SOUND, which is a little acronym, hopes that all attendees return to their respective communities with actionable information to provide opportunities for young men in leadership, entrepreneurship, mentorship, education, and health and wellness. Throughout our collaborative efforts, we hope to enable them to overcome obstacles and show them how the power of knowledge can help them achieve their dreams. And so that's a little mission blurb that we have for it. And like I was saying earlier about the knowledge itself, you know, the accumulation of power and knowledge is an essential step towards changing one's life and community. Knowledge without power or power without knowledge leads to an underdeveloped life. It can have serious consequences for society at large. And that kind of goes into addressing those 4 issues of knowledge, which is self, past, self-past, history, and purpose, and unknown. I know I added one.
Okay. I hope that everyone attends, takes away something from this conference. You know, as a female, it's something that I wish I could just be a fly on the wall. You know, just to hear some of the knowledge that's going to be spit.
You definitely stop by. We don't turn you away.
I feel that oftentimes men need to have their space without any female influence. Like, there's a time and place for collaborative conversations, but there are also times when you need to be exclusive, you know, just men.
Take
and
note,
maybe
ladies.
just
Take
black
note.
men.
So take note, ladies.
There are times, though, you know, as a mature woman, I can say that I respect and I recognize that black men need to have a space, because sometimes you're the only ones that understand your walk, your journey, your trials and tribulations and things that you deal with in everyday life. So, and you need a place to vent unapologetically, you know. So I hope that everyone comes empty and leaves with something.
That's the goal.
Don't leave the same way you came, as they say in church.
Yes, indeed. You know, just me with conferences. A lot of times I leave, and you know, like a lot of things, we leave with such a. You want to leave with that vigor. All right, I'm about to go do this. I'm about to go do that. I'm about to go change. And sometimes it dies out, but the goal is to make sure it doesn't. Even though that vigor might slow down, understanding that always using the tools that you learn, you can be able to use for the rest of your life. And more specifically in the lives of some other people who might not have that same privilege. Like you said, you know, it's okay to be in an inclusive space. And it's very important because, yes, one thing, a black man knows what another black man goes through. You know, I cannot relate to what a black woman goes through. So I can't relate to what us as black people do go through. But, you know, you go through some trials and tribulations. I don't. So, you know, I understand it, and I have to accept this. So, like you said, just how girls need their time, and they can vent and talk with each other. You're right. I think males do too. And males just have to have the willingness and openness to actually have that uncomfortable conversation, or say, hey, this is bothering me, and this is something that I'm going through. And like I tell people, a lot of times I might not necessarily have the right answer, but a lot of times just venting and knowing that somebody else may have went through what you went through, or is going through the same thing you're going through, and basically just understanding and acceptance, you know, that helps out more so than just having a complete, okay, this is how you get rid of that. But what you don't know, a lot of times, you know, open up your mouth, you learn that somebody might actually have the answer to, you know, a problem that you're having. So I definitely hope and pray, and I know people will leave with some good things from it, because I plan to myself. So.
Alrighty then. So thank you so much, Mr. Long, for joining us today. I always enjoy having a conversation with you on and off the air. You're such a wise young man.
Thank you so much. I try my best.
And thank you for the service you provide to Arkansas State University. I'm sure the students just absolutely love you.
They all right. They all right. I try my best. Like anything I do in my life, I'm always trying my best with them. So, but we have some great students at ASU.
Okay.
Some game changers. So.
And just give a shout out to, in our last like 50 seconds, the administrators or other people that are in your office.
Yeah. So we have total people in our office. So we're a division now. So we're actually a little bit expanded. But within our specific office, you have me, you have my boss, so the Vice Chancellor for Community Engagement, which is Dr. Maurice Gibson. We have Mr. J. Corey Lockhart, who works with our admin staff, and Ms. Sharon Lee, our Director of Community Engagement. I also have like the Multicultural Center, which is under our division now. So you have Dr. Yvette Allen, Mr. Joshua Smith, Ms. Rachel Henderson, Taylor Robinson. Office of Disability Services is under our umbrella now. The Delta Study Center, so this one is Peggy Wright. So we have a lot of different areas where we've grown from an office of 3 people at first, and now we split it to a division over 30. So it's been blessed.
Awesome.
Thank you for listening to Community Conversations on KLEK 102.5 FM, a program focusing on the people working to make the Jonesboro community a better place while offering viewpoints from all sides of the issues. The views expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily